great delight to come here for the. I've known all of you since you were your first year here, and it's been great getting to know you over the years. There's one of you who I've known longer than all the rest. I've known since she was about 8 years old or so. She's about this big. The stories I can tell. So it's my great delight to give the speech tonight. Megan Dromey, come on up.
May I begin this by acknowledging that I, like all of us, am perfectly imperfect. And all that I am about to say is what I strive to do and to be, and not who I completely am right now, nor will I ever entirely be. All that I tell you is what makes for a happy person, someone who is strong and confident, as well as genuine and humble. I pray that the value of inner peace may shine throughout my journey, and it is my hope that each and every one of you find some inspiration or love in my words. 2 years ago, I held an incredible sadness in my heart, which escalated quickly because of the way my mind works. I thought, and sometimes still do, way too much about what others said. I used all that I had just to bring more and more negativity into my head. It was like an addiction. I built up that negative energy and walked around in a bubble that kept positivity from entering my space. Looking back on that, I see that I had lost my grasp on my own self-worth, never realizing the value of inner peace and love within, which on a spiritual level separated me from the rest of the world. What I lacked, to be honest, was the element of peace, inner genuine quietness, and love for myself and others. I could be so caught up in the fast-paced, stiff image in my head that it blocked the spiritual pathway from my open heart to my often closed mind, making me lose my grip on life itself. I focused so much on the outside, hoping that if I could better myself somehow to where I was my idea of perfect, I would be happy, and I could hold the peace of knowing I was perfect. But for me, it never came to that point where I believed I was perfection. Nothing was ever enough for me to see it. And that year, I fell into a dark world that no one could seem to pull me out of. No one on earth, that is. I never thought of looking up, looking beyond what the human eye can physically see. I believe that all of us have stories that find a way of disguising themselves as blessings. One morning, during this period of sadness in my world, I was in my kitchen, sitting at the counter, most likely eating, when my dad came up to me, and we were the only ones in the house. But my mom and brother were probably running errands. Dad knew I was in a dark place, and he was about to hand over something that would eventually set me on the road to inner peace. The small token that I have kept since those dark months are these rosary beads. Here. My dad doesn't know I brought these up here, but I hope it can serve as an example of the gratitude I hold for both him and his gift. He spoke to me about what they meant to him, and ever since he gave them to me, they have not left the side of my bed. They were his father's. My dad's family, in particular his mom and dad, served as a beautiful example of faith. Though I never got to meet them, I am blessed every day by the presence they hold in my heart, and I have the grace of hearing about their passion for Christ, their steady love, their patience, and their kindness. My dad gave me these rosary beads, not certain how I would take them. And to be honest, I was unsure about how much they were going to truly impact me. They are my symbol of God. Holding them, connecting with them, fills me with such a sense of inner peace. I see and feel God in them, for they are so worn down and old because they have been used, prayed on, and held so many times. They remind me that I am a part of a family and a deep-rooted tradition of faith, and that like the old worn-down rosaries, we too may become worn down and old. But the message of God and peace will never leave. God is always there, no matter what we go through or feel. These rosary beads I hold take me through any fear or inner imbalance I have. My dad's father kept them in his pocket, always keeping them to pray. They were his physical piece of God, of worship, and of faith. I believe that they are a symbol of the wholehearted, intimate love and compassion that we are blessed with by God. These small beads hold so much meaning and are my blessing and symbol of peace. Inner peace has become the aid in my journey of finding faith and realizing the presence of God. The genuine fact of life is that we all must find our balance, and with that, a whole lot of peace within ourselves. Inner peace, it does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, no trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of all these things and still be calm in your heart. Inner peace does not mean absence of conflicts, which is a good thing because you're probably not going to get that all the time. Rather, in the midst of hardships, inner peace grounds us. I have found that my faith and loving myself have become the greatest tools to hold a deep sense of self-worth and inner peace as well. After all, the strength we hold within ourselves creates the depth of peace within. The calmness of our hearts can send that very peace outward. My attitude has changed since I met God again. It has turned into a love for self, which reflects through the way I engage with the world. By letting peace flow on my own, through my own heart, it has become easier to send out peace into the world. I've discovered the energy you put out into the world will be brought back to you through others. The choices we make every day, whether to be happy or angry, humble or frustrated, giving or selfish, can dictate our sense of peace and the peace in the world around us. We cannot change the past, nor can we predict the future, but we may change our hearts. For God gives us the power of choice, and I challenge you all to use that power in a positive and peaceful way. Thank you.